Just speak up.
Anyone whistle?
Whistle. Sorry I'm late, everyone. But as Pink once said, the party don't start till I walk in.
That is my turn.
I have been apparently welcome firstly. Second annual Yellow Fever Hui. I've been tasked with, actually I volunteered stupidly, to present. Do I have a clicker, Patrick?
Laptop.
Yeah, it's just
Patrick,
just hit his laptop until something.
Spacebar, it's easy.
Okay.
You know the shit.
Just say collect.
Actually,
You guys, pardon?
stay on this side because the camera. Oh yeah, you.
My camera.
Just step out of the way.
This fever written all over it.
I was very organised, thank you very much.
I may or may not have been drinking already.
The rest of us have. The rest of us.
I'm obviously you mostly know who we are, the exec, but I have a few slides here just in case you want a reminder. Dale, who's MIA at the moment, obviously, but is still on the emails trying to organise us in a roundabout kind of way. That's me. Patrick and his hands. Newsy, that photo's terrible. Boxy, that's a classic Boxy pose for those of you who don't actually party with Boxy.
Where is Boxy?
Magenta shirt.
Is he not here?
No. Slacker.
Even I'm here. I'm sorry about this, Dave. This was not my choice.
You don't buy me a beer at the bar.
Also, so Dave's probably a new face to the exec. He's our new liaison with the Phoenix, so he meets with them
Weekly,
sometimes.
fortnightly.
With Kyla. Not like this, he wears clothes, I think, to believe.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Depends on what he goes.
With Kyla to just make sure that there's a link between us and them so that we're not doing any, obviously we're still unofficial, but we don't want to do anything that's going to piss them off majorly. So Dave kind of controls that without fighting with them, like Smithy did. The best of the rest, allegedly. Liz, accounting, she does the money stuff, so I want to get on her good side. Cam is obviously a photographer, and he's also on the new podcast. What's it called? Phoenix City. It's cool. Nick's doing tech from afar over in England, London. Yeah. So he's based there now. Smithy's still working with us doing commercial partnerships. I'm not quite sure what that means, but it's there, so let's run with it. Pardon?
He gets free shit.
I got to invoice Adidas just this week, so that kind of thing.
Did you add a zero?
That's a very it's a very, very important thing.
Cool. Good to know, because I didn't know that. Andy, is Andy here?
No, it's not.
He's not here, who's also on the podcast. And Brandon is part of the podcast team as well, and also helps out a lot with the TIFO stuff. Brandon's there, for those of you who aren't sure. Also, key members, it's you. You might not be in that photo, but you still count.
Or you might have been photoshopped in.
That's really close.
Is this the one that moves? Okay, so we have a copy of the family tree from last year. So just look at it and see where people stand. It's a bit incestuous, it's a bit weird.
So these with you using a three-way.
Yes. You want all of us.
Hey!
You're still the fucking into.
Patrick has promoted himself,
Because Nick is doing very little for us, so.
which means that Nick is moving down the tree a little.
Does Nick know this? Nick's not here.
It's a time difference thing, you know?
Yeah.
He's not there when we need him, okay? Newsy has gone, apparently.
From the pod.
Pod.
Thank you, Tommy.
Oh, and so is Smithy, which we all cheered about before. And Boxy's moved over to everyone else. I got promoted as well, so
Biggest mover, right?
yeah, you know it.
Snakes and ladders.
Wilso got crossed out. Wilso is.
Is this doing technical formation?
Wilso left us for finer pastures or not in England again. Hobbit left his role at Rios, thus ditching us. Dave.
Yay!
I'm not sure how he's connected to the family though. He's like the outside.
He's a creepy uncle.
Don't speak too soon. And so we have this year's family tree.
Yes.
So we've gone across rather than hierarchical structure, and everyone has cool titles. Obviously, Smithy, News and Greenie are still their weird little threesome. Patrick's taken over the majority of the tech stuff, with Nick doing less tech. That's an official title, by the way. Dale from afar is Chief Forum Mod, although I'm not entirely sure how much time he's spending on the forums, which is probably good for some people who shall remain nameless.
Most of the people in the under 23 thread.
I've been titled, I titled myself, head journalist, basically just because I write for the Phoenix program.
What do you write about?
If you read that was weird. I'm also hoping to put Panda out a bit more often. Dave, as I explained earlier, is Nick's liaison. Adam is chief designer for the teas, which we have a few options to present later on. Special One is still doing some design stuff, so he did the banner on the forums for today's Hui. Liz retains her finance role.
Nice.
Hey, you get a free car for it.
Everyone else, Boxy is just kind of around. He doesn't have a specific function.
He's not here.
Well, he's not there, obviously.
International relations.
Flares and stuff. Cam, Photo and Pod, Brandon, Tifo and Pod, and Andy, Pod. I don't know about everyone else if you've listened to the podcast, but everyone's voices sound the same at the moment. It's really bizarre. But, so you don't really know.
That's what we're going for.
Oh, monotonous, yeah?
Is that what
Just checking. I've only listened once. And Smithy is over here doing commercially stuff, which I, again, don't know really what entails, but that's cool. Hi. That's Egypt, by the way. So Liz gave us a bit of information about what we spend our money on and how we get our money and stuff like that. And I've decided, so that I can get a drink, Patrick can talk. Sorry, everyone.
He's really excited about this. I've been waiting for this one. So hashtag way of spender. So where our money goes and where we get it from. So this is where we get our money from. There's basically two sources, you and not you. So
each spends well.
The you stuff is things like t-shirt sales, the scarves that we did, the bucket hats, that kind of thing. And so the little bar there is the profit that we make on every t-shirt, not the total money. So it's about $10 per shirt rather than $35 that you spend. And then the not you is things like the sponsorship deals that we do, the advertising as well. So we've been relying on the not you stuff for a little while now. As you can see, 2012 was a great year for t-shirt sales and that kind of thing. We were riding on the coattails of that year for a while, but we really need to pick up both the merchandise side of things and the sponsorship side of things.
Hey, I can't buy so many t-shirts.
Design them good ones.
So yeah, it's we've had less money coming in than we have in previous years over the past 12 months. We've spent our money. So these are the little bars. Each colour within a bar represents a year. So the yellow one at the bottom is how much money we spent during the last 12 months.
So you know, spend no money on the
So these are March financial years.
Yeah.
So yeah, up to
So-
the 31st of March 2015.
So promotion is Turbo Shandy's, correct?
Yes. So the
It's pretty
website-
much just greenies to it.
Something like tonight is promotion, as an example. But also like things like banners, flags,
Turbo Shandies.
you know, that kind of stuff.
So one of the things that we are doing now, that we're trying to grow the amount of TIFOs and things that we're doing, we're splitting that off into its own category. So it's very little at the moment because we spend a little bit of money on it. But we're hoping to grow that, so that's why we split it out of promotion to make promotion not as high and move it into its own little category. The scholarships and sponsorships, since we don't run the Retro Ricky scholarship anymore, that's not as high as it's been in previous years. And we kind of split the Fever Dreams thing off, which you all know about, we'll talk about later, into its own separate thing. We need to look at how we're doing that in future though, so that may come back into there for future years. And then the website costs a little bit of money to run too. It's not free, and so that's paying for the web hosting,
Your salary.
my salary, which is zero, and things like being able to pay for the mailing list and that kind of thing. So that's where that money goes. So the website advertising really does keep us going. We just had the Adidas banners that you've got on the side of the forum at the moment is getting us $2,000 for 2 weeks, and that makes a huge difference. Without that, we wouldn't be able to run.
Click on them as often as you can,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the number of times you go on those links or you refresh the under 23 thread and just spear at the morons that are posting on it, you know, that's an impression that they get. So particularly if you've got more than one machine, so more than one IP address, that always helps.
Can we write a bot? All the time?
So,
Is that for the town and the dentist, is it?
sorry?
Is that for town?
I'll translate.
Yeah, so TAB, the TAB and Adidas are the two big ones that we have. So the TAB is a recurring thing that we do. We sign them up once a year for the whole year. And so we put up the Phoenix versus whoever the Phoenix playing this weekend and a link to their site and also the odds up the top. They've been really happy with us lately for doing their odds. They said, quote, that's the best integration we've seen on any website.
But you know
So-
that option, a lot of government websites.
Yes, unfortunately, Yellow Fever is now known as a gambling website,
Yes.
but it's 6 or half a dozen of the other. We can't really afford to take it out because there's such a big.
Government
big
departments are unlikely to cover the expenses that TAB pays.
Yeah.
Yes, nicely.
So Adidas have done two of those takeover campaigns over the last 12 months with us. They did one before in February, and the hits and clicks through that they got, they were really happy with that, really impressed. We've got a really niche market that they're targeting perfectly, so it's a really good partnership with both of us. Obviously everyone that goes there is football people, so it's good for them, it's good for us, and it's made a big difference. If we didn't have Adidas on, the income from this year would have been very, very small, and it would have put us in a bit of trouble without it. So yeah, we've had less income over the past 12 months, but we've spent more money. So we had a little bit of profit from the 12 months before that we've used up to a certain extent, but we need to turn that around this year to be able to keep going, otherwise we'll be in the red. TIFOs are a new thing.
No pressure at him.
I personally want to do. I want to do more and more of that this season. The biggest constraint that we've had in the past has been time rather than money. Hopefully we've sort of worked out what we're doing now. I've worked out what I'm doing. We have a few people who have done it before, that we can speed things up a little bit more time-wise, and hopefully money becomes a constraint. And so there may be an option to maybe make a TIFO fund where you can donate straight to TIFO or something like that, but that's all, nothing's in concrete yet. So.
What do we do? I have a mug here for anyone who can tell me the most key thing that we do.
Sweet fuck all.
Loose things.
Raise funds.
Look out for the weekends.
Loose banners, loose flags, get drunk.
Support the team.
Dave, just say
Rings.
you see it. If you see it, Jojo, you can have the mug. There's a few more.
You can.
Joey,
This is birthday, you can let him have it.
it's done.
Anyways, so the key here is create community. Through the website and the forums, through physical places like here, the Fever Zone, Electric Cave. Last year, obviously, we helped organise the shift to the Bellevue being our home pub before the games out there. Also, Fever Tour, which sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't happen, but obviously we all love to
Alpha whiskey.
do that stuff. Supporting football with chants, tifos, the flags and the banners, which kind of is the same thing. T-shirts, scarves and other merch. That's obviously selling the stuff that Adam's now going to design and also repping it as much as possible. Engaging with other clubs, fans, online and on game days. So there's quite a few of us who have friendships. With other fans from other clubs, and we know that people like the Sydney guys, the Newcastle guys like to come here for 12 pubs and get on the piss. But if there's anyone in the room who doesn't have that sort of kind of relationship, so to speak, with those other fans, then there's someone else in the room who does have that, and if you plan to go for an away trip by yourself with a couple of other people, then we can definitely introduce you and hook you up to other fans from over there. And basically, we're running a pimp circle.
Tinder for Yellow.
Patrick's on that, he's working on it now.
Yellow Tinder.
Okay. Advocating and commenting. So that's apparently something that we do via the podcast, which in the zone obviously retired. And Phoenix City started. We've got the media comment aspect. Newsies been on the news.
You put yourself up as media person now. TV can't call you.
I
You're
can't.
throwing you
My
under
work
the
doesn't
bus.
allow me to do that. Sorry. So
No.
that's not happening either. But also just little things like our under 20 tour. Dave, myself, and Dale did our under 20s World Cup tour, and we got quite a bit of media coverage. And as much as we could,
Yeah.
Pardon?
On the FIFA website and all that.
I know, right? And we tried to push
They
it.
mentioned
Whether
Yellow
or not
Fever as
they
well.
reported it is a different story, but we definitely tried to push that we were part of a wider community who supported football in New Zealand. Social media, obviously, we've got the Yellow Fever have the Facebook, the Twitter, the
YouTube.
forums, there's a YouTube channel, so trying to push it that way. I did say that originally, sorry. Oh, right, so we have some behind the scenes contact with New Zealand football media and stuff like that, and that's how we get the news to you guys on the forums. Obviously it's also on public news, but let's do funny pictures anyway. So now I'm going to talk about something that most of you were probably involved with donating, maybe. Fever Dreams. So, does everyone know what Fever Dreams is?
No.
Ronald McDonald House, that's right. So Matt started the idea, and actually came from Brandon saying that he was keen to buy a ticket for a person to attend the game, and that person obviously didn't have to pay for it, they were getting a free ticket to go to the game. Matt took that on and it basically exploded. His idea was to get Ronald McDonald House families involved. So each week, it started off with one family, wasn't it? That it was to be one family to come along to the game. We would supply the tickets, we would supply scarves for them to get involved, and from there it just kind of grew and grew and grew. So it became something that happened every single week. All the home games, there was a family from Ronald McDonald House that came along. There was one occasion where a family couldn't come, so the Ronald McDonald staff came along to the game. They got tickets to the game, they got lounge passes, as I believe, for the shitty Wellington weather. They got offered a meal at Bethel Woods pre-game, a couple of Yellow Fever scarves, and parking at the match. You may have seen on the forums in the last couple of days, Matt has dreams of grandeur with regards to this Ronald McDonald House stuff. Not only does he want to continue this throughout the season, but he's really keen, and he's talking to Liz and Guy about pushing it to have a charity arm of the Fever, so that we can continue paying for this. And that's partly from the fact that the money is currently sitting in his personal bank account, and he doesn't like that. I trust him. We probably all trust him, but he doesn't like the feeling of having all that money in his account when it doesn't belong to him. So that's part of the drive behind that, and he's talking to, like I say, Guy and Liz, and also the Phoenix, to try and push that and see for ideas as to how we can grow that kind of aspect of the fever. So we're not just all about drinking piss and watching football.
We're going to keep doing that too, though.
Oh yeah, don't stop that. If we stop doing that, then I quit.
I thought Adam was going to go with a suggestion.
Okay, so now that I'm not crying anymore, Adam has supplied a few designs for some t-shirts for this season.
We've already shot half of them down.
So,
Got left out.
Adam, do you have any descriptors that you would like to use with regards to your t-shirt designs?
I chatted with Smithy and Jeff, who's new Phil, at Rios. Basically, what we're going to do through Rios is kind of keep to the ones that sell well. So probably the Ernie Weekend at Ernie's. The one, the Yellow Fever that had all the players' names through the background, obviously updated for this year's squad. And the Fever of Wellington, which has always done well for them. Basically, they don't want to end up with a shitload of stock that they can't sell, doing funny teas that only we think are funny. The wider public don't quite get. So the idea was kind of reimagine the Fever of Wellington tea. That's one of the ideas. Next.
Sorry.
Viniesta. Fell off Twitter. This will be obviously one of the ones that has a niche.
Do you do it for Excel? That's all I want to know.
Probably not. No.
Will that be a limited edition?
That'll probably be one we do through the forums or something like that. Pre-order.
We're going to talk about that again in a second, about the ordering and stuff.
Hashtag Viniesta?
Yeah, there's the font didn't actually have a hashtag, but I think a hashtag for the
So we need to hire a decent designer.
Someone who pays for his fonts instead of licking them off the font.
It is stolen off the font. Yeah. Another idea, possibly a replacement for the Fever of Wellington one.
This next one is my personal favourite. Does everyone know what that's about?
Does everyone get it?
Does everyone know what it's about? So Jura and Vinny appeared on Shortland Street.
And their one line
Vinny's
was...
actual words in the script were, so, you want to talk football? To like a 12-year-old girl. It was a bit creepy.
Even in Shortland Street, it was probably the most flatly delivered line
His
ever.
name's Viniesta, not Vinny.
This t-shirt was the best thing to come out of the under 20 road trip. This
I think
idea.
that's one of those ones that's teetering on, do we put it into Reels?
All the Shortland Street fans would be welcome.
Yeah, put Shortland Street logo on it.
Okay, that's your move. Yeah, that's your move. So, if anyone has suggestions,
Spelling mistakes, keep an eye out for them.
issues with the designs, then let Adam know. Just abuse him all the time. On Twitter, he's at Adam Ryan.
Thanks.
Have we set him up with a Adam at Yellow Fever?
Not yet.
Tease at Yellow
Oh, have we?
Fever.
Oh, we have. See, but I don't have one of those.
It doesn't exist yet.
Apparently I do.
It doesn't exist yet.
Sorry.
Crying at Yellow Fever. That's straight crazy.
So, apparently I need to resend out all the access codes to the Fever email addresses.
Patrick, I'm going to let him talk again, sorry.
Oh, crazy.
Mainly because she doesn't want to talk about the nerdy stuff, which is coming up now.
I don't know anything about it, so...
yellowfever.co.nz. So that's where our website is, obviously, and the forum is quite a big part of what we do. We organise a lot of things through it. So this is some of the stats from the last all time. So the top one here is the number of sessions over time. So at the start, it's 2010, when we started tracking this stuff, even though the site started in 2007, and here is now. So this little dip here is when we had the train wreck of 2012, and the website became pretty crap. So that's a combination of that, the tracking stuff not working, and people not visiting the site. But once we got back on, we're a bit stable. So lately, which is shown here, so as you can see, we've been pretty stable over time. Here, the blue line is this year, the number of active users per month on the forums, compared to last year, and it's slightly down. So our forum traffic this year, over the last 12 months, it's not financial year, this is the actual last 12 months, has been slightly down, and you can see that starting to creep in over here as well. So we need to try and work out how we increase that back up again, whether that's just through interest in the Phoenix, whether it's something that we can do as a forums, whether we need to put more features up in there.
And stick some people.
Something like that, yeah.
By active users, do you mean people who post or people who view?
No, so nothing to do with user accounts. It's people who visit the site according to Google. So even if they're not logged in and they're just reading it. So we sit at about 10,000 users as a whole that come on the site. That changes over time a little bit, but we've been a bit down. The first month in quite a while where we had less than 10,000 people was last month. So I didn't see much point in including the apps because it's such a small base that uses the apps, and they're all kind of there all the time, the people that use it, so that's just the website.
Again, if you've got multiple different IP addresses, use them.
So we need to get that back up again because as we said earlier, the web advertising is such a key thing for us, so yeah. So what we've done, or what I've done really, I think I did all those things over the last 2 months on the website. We updated the stuff that runs the website to keep it all secure and non-hacky. I think over the last 12 months, both the Jets and the Victory have had their websites hacked by Iranian hacker groups. And so we run a completely custom software that
By
is...
Iranian hacker groups, you mean the RBB, yeah?
Something like that. So we run completely custom software and we keep that up to date, so we're not going to get hacked, hopefully, touch wood. The TDB integration, that was something we did for the World Cup last year. They wanted us to step up our game so that they would sign on again, so we did the World Cup as sort of a test thing. So we had the odds come in there before the game saying this is the country, here are the odds, yada yada yada. They loved that, they lapped that up. So we added that in for the EPL because the EPL started 2 months before the A-League. And then when the A-League started, we just used it for the A-League to get those 5 games across the top. When the A-League started, I updated it so that it had live odds as well. So before that, as soon as the game started, it would disappear off. Now when the TAB are doing live betting, there's a little pink box around it and it has the live odds, which updates every 5 minutes. So they love that as well because that's what they're all about, people watching away games and clicking on that to bet. And so the chance, we added that to the website and the Android and the iOS apps. That was part of our attempt to kind of pick up our game chance-wise. So we had a group that got together about September last year and came up with a whole bunch of new chants. And it was a really good way to have a concise set of the chants that we do at all games. We've also got the ability to add new chants on the fly. It sends out notifications to people when we do that. So that's quite a cool thing. We probably didn't use that as much as we could have last year, but it's much better than having a whole bunch of forum posts where people don't know where to go to find the chants. The blogs, we haven't really used that too much either, but Tracy, when she was on her trip around the country, was posting weekly blogs about what they've been up to.
I did like 2.
Smithy posted one, I posted one, but if anybody's keen to do a regular blog post on the forums, let me know because we would be all over that. Let Tracy know she's head journalist. You're not the editor though. Anyway. And we can use that. So that automatically posts. Feverbot. Feverbot posts the league table to the forums after every game. That used to be done by Piney. He would meticulously have a spreadsheet that he screenshotted and popped across to the forums. It's all automated now. We put people's real names and Twitter username on the forum to take away a little bit of the anonymity that the forum had. And also we added the swear filter, which takes away the words that you all know not to say, and we have fudge, shark, and cod, and football.
And crude. Celtic.
Crude.
Which is Celtic.
Also, if anyone's using AdWords, please turn it off on Yellow Fever so they don't get money.
Yes. And we did the advertising. That was quite a mission to get the ability to have those 2 things on the side. It looks easy, it's not easy.
And it caused Declan Lynn to get banned from the Olympics.
Yeah. Did it?
Yeah. Adidas sponsored it, and then all of a sudden that thread exploded.
Now's the bit where we ask you. I really wanted a picture of Greenie as Uncle Sam, like we want you, but okay, no, that's not a thing.
And about a dozen drinks.
Oh yeah, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
It'd be like, wait,
It wouldn't be all creepy.
I have a question. Actually, I have 3 questions. Does anyone here consider themselves an artist? Can anyone draw?
Has anybody seen a crayon?
Okay, can anyone hold a paintbrush in their hand?
Yes.
Then you guys are in, right? So we're constantly trying to make banners. Like this bad boy here took forever and a day because there was like 5 people working on it to paint. Not only painting skills are required, if you can sew, that's a bonus too, because it takes about, how many sheets? Like 8 lengths of fabric to stitch that thing together, and I do. But if anyone, I mean, we're always looking for more people to try and get on board and do these sort of things. And Patrick really wants to grow this as a thing, so making more TIFOs on a larger scale potentially if it's possible, but not only to actually do this stuff but to come up with ideas, because otherwise Patrick will run the show and we don't really all want that, do we? And that's exactly why, because he throws his toys at him like
That's good.
Chants. Last year we ran, like Patrick alluded to before, we ran the chant session at downstairs, I think. And we talked about all the chants that we could use. There was a bit of changing of lyrics, stuff like that. New ideas came through, which gave us a solid base of chants that we can use throughout the season. Obviously that doesn't include all the one-off banter occasion things, you know. But does anyone think that it's a good idea to do that again?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so we'll look at doing that as well. I probably won't be here, but we can do it anyway. You guys can do it. So you don't need any particular talent as long as you can scan words into a song. After, Patrick's going to talk for a bit more. Again, I'm really, really sorry. And then I think we're going to just cut, so.
So I have the Wellington Phoenix pre-season update from the club, and since Tony's actually here, I felt like I should read it. They asked us to read it, so we'll keep Kyla happy probably, you can tell her we did it. So a whole bunch of it is marketing specs, I'll skip over that. They're into their pre-season preparations, kick-off is on the 11th of October. They're after feedback on the Phoenix matchday experience and anything that they do.
More Dane Rumble.
So if you want more Dane Rumble, either go to phoenix.com and follow the contact links, or just send Kyla, who's the marketing manager at the Phoenix, an email. So her email address is Kyla L, her name is Kyla Lang.
Or specifically, if you want more Dane Rumble, tell me so that I don't tell Tyler.
One suggestion I made to Kyla didn't actually take off was some Phoenix branded sunblock because of all the pixie
Yeah, so if you have something that's specifically Phoenix related, not so much fever, and you want
to talk to Domi while he's here, he'll be pleased to talk about it.
That's Domi there, by the way.
So this season the Phoenix are giving every capital football club an adult and a child membership to use how they wish. That's actually pretty cool. I didn't know that before now, so I heard it there just then. So they can give it to a volunteer or auction it off. If your club is keen to get involved, if you're involved with the club, Wellington United or whatever, although you kind of have a nice relationship with the Phoenix as it is, Wellington United.
Maybe a header, Patty, just get on board, mate.
Hey, I vetoed your Wellington United Phoenix t-shirt. There's a bunch of events coming up. I think the closest ones are the 1st and 15th, the Phoenix Junior Football Festival days. Probably not so much. There's the pre-season game in New Plymouth. There's a few things that we might be doing there, so watch this space on that.
The bus?
Might be us, basically.
Yeah.
We're looking into it.
Talk to me if you're keen to go to that game, because there may be plans in the works.
Not right now though, just
No.
later.
And then the week after that is the Company Coast game, so in the past, pretty much I think I've seen everyone who's here tonight at one of those games. So that's happening again at Wicker Park. The game day tickets go on sale early September, so if you are a season pass holder and you want to encourage your friends and family to come on to games, those tickets are available early September, and that's when the new jersey is coming out. Early September. The new Phoenix kit's coming out then too. Home and away, and I think third stroke as well. Any hints, Tommy? Can you tell us anything? Stripey-ish. So that's the Phoenix are coming. The Phoenix are playing Auckland City in Wellington. In the past, it's been in Auckland, so that's quite a cool thing for us. because we can coincide our chant chat sessions for kind of the week before that, work out some chants and things that we want to do and give them a go at the Auckland City game. So that's in Wellington, that'll be really cool. Then there's the Family Day launch, and then we're into the season. So Phoenix play the Jets on Sunday the 11th of October. So that's really exciting. After that, they've got the Auckland and the other games. If you haven't bought your season pass yet, buy that.
Someone buy mine, please. I can't afford it.
It's the FFA Jets.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And then New Plymouth as well. So there's the famous stuff done. We've some giveaways. Who wants a t-shirt? Who wants a t-shirt?
No, wait, no, you can't just do that. I saw this happen once at a Phoenix function, and then I paid $180 for a shirt that belonged to Vinnie Leah. So, does anyone have a question?
How much you
Wait,
pay for shorts?
that was the thing, Ash. You were there. No, you
I
weren't.
was not there.
I was there.
You were there, right. So it was who asked the best question, right?
Yes, it was.
So, does anyone have any questions? And the best question can have what's in this box, and you cannot ask the question, and this t-shirt.
How much for next flights?
How did
Too much.
How did Van Lyden find out Declan Wynn was ineligible?
Frank Farida.
Can we make this Phoenix related question? You not drop your hand. Or Yellow Fever related question.
Keith.
What's in your
Greedy.
box, Tracy?
I wasn't in charge. Patrick did it.
Well, I did.
Who's our new striker? Yeah. Who's like going to be our new key striker?
Where's Domi gone?
I just want to hear good questions.
He's not here.
Are we going to get rid of the Yellow Fever Echo?
Yes, we're going to have a drum.
Are you allowed to
Yeah.
do instruments?
We'll sort it out.
Okay, basically who wants a t-shirt and what's in the box?
T-shirt for a mark.
For shorts. You want a t-shirt? Small, will fit you.
Just straight out.
I bet it's a t-shirt again.
Oh, it worked.
No, I'll have a big kick drum. So
That ends.
You said, can I have a t-shirt?
That ends.
It's a question. And it got you a t-shirt.
What ifs? You guys can talk amongst yourselves now. Or talk to me if you have anything you want to say. Small, it's not going to fit you.
Hey, there it is.
Always aim for the Norwich fan.
who wants this bag? Who wants the bag?
Greenie wants the bag.